We've talked to all three suspects, purely based on their conversations with me.
None of them sounded particularly suspicious.
I suppose that's to be expected, though. If a single conversation's all the... Anyway, even though we didn't make a breakthrough, let's...
But where should we start? Ah, you're right! Flora mentioned that Callus probably only ended up with the gun because...
According to Jacques' family members, he already told them that he had been If I had to guess, he probably received an order...
So, Jacques fired the first shot?
Oh? And why is that?
Ooh, that's a good point. Jacques probably already knew that he was just being used as a tool for murder.
Huh. So, what would make more sense from his perspective? Makes sense. But without evidence, that's still just a theory. Besides Jacques, the attack from the Gardamex has been bothering me quite a bit as well. It's obvious that our enemy has become more antsy after the secret of the primordial seawater was revealed.
Do you think he knew, even then, that we'd fall?
Given everything that's happened since... but who among the three suspects would have the ability to control privately owned Gardamex? Thierry, you say? Huh. It is, but... I didn't feel like he was lying when he was talking to us about the mecha.
Yeah. Had he actually tampered with the mecha, if the mecha were taken from the guards, it should be pretty easy to find out when and...
Uncle Marcel? And with... Still... Also, wouldn't this mean he has been spending a whole lot of mora and energy to... Florent? But...
So you're saying he's too broke to...
Exactly. He can't. Who could it be? You know, if you think everything through...
Could we be missing other suspects?
Malus has always been very reliable, and his judgment of others' trustworthiness has been fair and well considered. The suspect is knowledgeable. Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how things could all tie back.
Well, we still have another trump card on top of all the theorizing and speculating.
Yes. Malus did say that charging straight in there would be we need far more solid proof before—
Navia, here you are. Oh,
Huh? Aren't you the guy from the guards?
yeah. News came from Irenaeus just after—
Wasn't that place built specifically for holding trials?
I know. But they said the person they're putting on trial is a Fatui harbinger called Tartaglia.
What? Is that someone you know?
Yeah, we know him. Maybe even a little too well.
Well, he's been accused of being the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case.
Wait, how? None of our investigations have had anything to do with him.
That's what I thought was strange about it. So, if the charge against him stands, then it'll be next to impossible.
Right. Because they'll think they've already—
Yeah. And it'll be a lot hard.
I understand. Huh? Split up? What do you mean? Just as expected of my partner. Since this is a trial about the serial disappearances case, you're right. This is our best opportunity. All right, I won't have any chance of making that charge stick, though, unless we find more evidence. It'll be—
We'll help you, just like you helped.
Demoiselle, please allow us to accompany you.
I'm ready.
Ah, Malus, Silver. When—
We heard that you'll be leaving Poisson and figured that it's our hope that your
Thank you so much. Then—
See you then! Yeah, set out for Irenaeus. We should also get going. The location has already been marked on the map, so let's head over. Huh. According to Malus's info, the synth production base is underwater. Let's go and try to find the entrance.
Take flight! Wind strike! Sure!
Allow me. Finally found it! Huh. So this is the entrance that leads to the synth production base. You're right. An important place like this is bound to have a ton of... Navia's probably arguing up a storm right now to stall...
It would appear that I must repeat my question again, Mr. Tartaglia. Do you accept the charge that you are the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case?
To be perfectly honest, I don't understand your country's complicated court system, or the reason why I'm being charged with something I've never even heard of. However, I did hear that people who have been charged can choose to participate in a duel to clear their name, in which case, as long as I accept the charge, I can have an all-out fight with that champion duelist Clorend, right? I've got to admit, that's one of the most enticing offers I've ever received. When I privately sparred with her last time, she was obviously holding back.
Hey! Don't you understand? You're currently the prime suspect for a major case.
Oh? Sounds like the Hydro Archon wants to lecture me on the ways of the Opera House. Then why don't you duel me too? I'm the kind of student that learns best in the heat of battle.
No. That's not what I meant.
Alas, it would appear that communication with the defendant is going poorly. In that case, let me explain everything from the very beginning again. The goal of this trial is to determine the culprit behind the serial disappearances case.
That case had nothing to do with him.
Huh? What's going on? Why is she interjecting again?
I told you it couldn't be one of the Fatui Harbingers.
Miss Navia, this is the second time you've interrupted the court proceedings. I only tolerated your behavior last time because you were able to provide the court with a key. But that was an exception rather than standard court protocol. I can very well charge you with contempt of court for your interjection.
Oh, please. Did you ever think I had any respect for this place's pointless theatrics? We can put that discussion aside for now. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm here to charge the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case. And if my charges prove true, then Tartaglia here will be proven innocent by default, correct?
Oh, a young lady has charged in and offered to clear my name. How fascinating. Well, I'd gotten half bored to death by all these rules and procedures anyway. So, Your Honor, is there nothing else for me to do now?
You may take a seat for now in the audience, but that doesn't mean the suspicions against you have been lifted. Now then, Miss Navia, who is the person you would like to charge instead?
That person is... Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières!
Huh? What confrérie? Never heard of them in my life.
I've heard of them, but weren't they Spina di Rosula's sister organization?
Oh, is this going to be a friends to enemies type situation?
Please let me remind you, Miss Navia, that charging someone is an incredibly serious matter. Committing to the charge also means taking on the legal responsibilities associated with it. And if the charge fails, depending on the circumstances, you may also be charged with the crime of making a false accusation.
Yes.
In that case, I declare the charge to be valid. Miss Navia and attorneys, please take your places on the court. Members of the guards, please contact Mr. Marcel right away so that he may stand trial. Mr. Marcel, you will not require an attorney. Is that correct?
Apologies. It all just happened so quickly. I still haven't figured out what's going on. I think an attorney won't be necessary. This is probably just a misunderstanding between me and Navia.
Very well. In that case, since both sides have now arrived, Miss Navia, please present your charges.
I would like to take everyone back to 3 years ago, to the case of Callus the Unfaithful. Only through elucidating what really happened in that case can we connect all the dots for the serial disappearances case.
Navia, do you really think that I was the one who killed your father? Come on, why would I do that? Callus was my benefactor, and remember, both you and I only ran to the scene when we heard the sound of a gun. If that's enough to make me a suspect, wouldn't that make everyone at that banquet a suspect as well?
I think there's no point in getting into the specifics right now.
Exactly correct, Your Honor. I must refresh everyone's memory about that case before I can explain my charge and reasoning.
I see. In which case, I will recount the findings about that case as originally recorded by Maison Gardiennage. On the day of the murder, Spina di Rosula hosted a large banquet in a countryside estate owned by the Confrérie of Cabrières. During the banquet, all attending guests heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. When the guests arrived at the scene, they found the primary suspect, Callus, holding a gun, while his acquaintance, Jacques, lay dead from a gunshot wound. The guards' investigation did not recover any other firearms from the scene. As a result, they concluded that the suspect's first shot must have missed, while the second must have taken Jacques' life. The suspect did not dispute this conclusion, and also declined to defend himself in court. Instead, he chose to prove his innocence through a duel. Callus was defeated by champion duelist Clarande in the ensuing duel, and soon succumbed to the injuries. These are the known facts about the case.
The one with the motive to kill was Jacques, not my father. And even so, Jacques still had no reason to pull the trigger. In truth, the third person shot Jacques first, and was shot in turn by my father when my father seized the gun from him. After that, the true culprit turned the third person into water, erasing all traces of him from the scene. Thank you for the summary, Your Honor. Of course, the guard's conclusion appeared quite sensible to us at the time. However, we should revisit the case now that we've gained new information about the abilities of water from the primordial sea. Something's... Something's not right. A pile of clothing was found at the scene. The guards once believed they were used by Jacques as a costume to disguise himself, but... This assassin first shot Jacques, then turned to shoot Callus, only for Callus to wrestle the gun from him and kill him instead. Something... The testimony of the victim's family confirms that Jacques had thoughts of assassinating Callus when he set out for the banquet. However, unfortunately for Jacques, the true culprit had already considered this possibility and had sent out another assassin. Realizing this, the true culprit caused the hired assassin to dissolve into water, leading everyone to believe Callus was responsible for Jacques' murder. This is the true version of events.
Ah, so that's what happened. Wait, you're telling me something as dangerous as water from the
What a great theory. It also explains Callus's and...
Mr. Marcel, you are the one being charged with the crime. You should provide a rebuttal if you...
Ah, but I think I agree with everything Navia just said. In fact, there was nothing in her...
Then, may I ask some questions? In my... 1. Do you have the evidence to back up your claim?
I'm afraid not.
Boo! If you don't have any evidence, you should just...
I may not have the evidence with me, but I know where I could go to collect it. If we look up the deserted clothes against, we should be able to find a map. Considering the serial disappearances case, the guards probably kept careful records of all missing persons from around...
That makes sense to me. Monsieur Neuvillette, I would consider this to be a reasonable investigative direction.
Why do I feel like Farina's acting a little differently today?
Maybe she's scared of embarrassment.
Alternatively, she's become more diligent after charging it.
My second question has to do with the ensuing duel. If the truth is indeed as you described, then why didn't Mr. Callus explain himself in court? If he had...
I've thought about this too, and the answer is actually pretty simple. The dissolving power of water from the primordial sea is an important secret for the true culprit of the serial disappearances case. My father could have exposed it for all to see, but he chose to take it to the grave. At that time, Spina di Rosula was in dire straits, and his reputation had already been shattered. He had no guarantee that going forward with the truth would allow the culprit to be brought to justice. What was certain, however, was that it would paint a gigantic target on my...
Boss once told me that Demoiselle had already been...
What?
If the secret had gotten out, the culprit would have fought an all-out war with Espina right there and then. I wouldn't have been the only one in danger. Of course, the guards might eventually figure out the truth of the matter and determine that we were in the right. But what good would that do? How can a hollow verdict protect anyone? Had this opera house ever given my father any kind of confidence in its brand of justice? But by staying silent, we retained the ability to deter our opponents and continue. I was able to become Spina di Rosula's president, which made me harder to target, as well as giving me more time to grow and learn. And once I have figured out the truth and stepped up to the challenge, I will do what this opera house cannot, and
So, you mean to say... your father intended to die in the duelist's ring?
That's right.
Do you have any proof?
Of course. All you need is to ask his opponent, I don't need your apology, your guilt, or your support from the shadows. You don't have to do anything for my sake. But since he entrusted his will to you, Clarand, you should tell us the truth about his sacrifice.
So... during the duel, did you believe that Callus was intending to die?
Yes, as a champion duelist, I've fought many battles and taken a countless number of dishonored lives. In my line of work, I've seen all kinds of people give their all for the faintest hope to continue living. Some were determined, others passionate, and just one look and I can tell if a duelist is hoping to live or if they're looking to die. I hereby swear on my name and honor as a champion duelist that Mr. Callus never intended to leave the ring alive.
Since that's your testimony, I have no more questions. It appears there really are good grounds to
I concur. However, Miss Navia, you still have not explained the link between your father's case and the serial disappearances case.
Right? What she said was fascinating, but kind of beside the point.
Wait, weren't they just talking about the serial
Of course, Your Honor. The two cases are connected via a matter of timing. In my father's case, the culprit intended to kill both Jacques and Callus. As a result, and at the end of Linny's trial, the culprit also only dissolved the victim in front of everyone because the culprit could only time their actions so precisely if they, coincidentally, Marcel attended both the banquet and the trial.
So that's why you suspected me. Even after hearing your reasoning, I still can't help but find it a little preposterous. I'm used to it, though. You've always been an impulsive and sentimental child, Navia. It's one of your most endearing traits.
No need to appeal to pathos.
I won't try to refute your points one by one, but even if everything you just said was true, can you prove that I was the only person present at both events? On top of that, does a person have to be physically present to control the timing? Can't someone remotely monitor the place?
Know what she can say to that.
I know that even with that, you might still think you can reduce the list of suspects with some further investigations, until I'm the only one left. Alas, who won't feel at least a little hurt by an accusation of murder from a girl you see as your own? But if I were to dismiss this completely, you'd also think I'm not being considerate of your feelings. Do you know what the biggest flaw in your reasoning is?
I suppose you're gonna tell me.
It's timing again. I'm a businessman by trade. From that standpoint, there's no reason for me to kidnap you. In addition, I left my home in Snezhnaya when I was young to come to Poisson and work in some trade. My business only thrived when I received Callus's patronage. But the disappearances began before I ever...
I do apologize, demoiselle. This was...
No, it's not your fault.
Is there anything else you'd like to say? Would you like to check the date of my first business license against the... You can also take a look at my border entry records, or ask my friends and family when I left Snezhnaya. Could those records and testimonies do something to appease...
Seems like she got the wrong... At this rate, Navia will be convicted for falsely accusing him.
I think you've done a superb job of dissecting your father's feelings as he neared the end of his life. But aren't you going against all of his wishes and expectations right now? He wished for you to become more rational, collected, and conscientious, instead of dwelling once you've learned to be more considerate of others' feelings, and to stop rushing headlong into things.
This isn't just about me. And the biggest difference between me and the rest of the victims is that I still have the ability to... The people whose families were destroyed by synth abuse, the people who lost their loved ones to the serial disappearances, and the people who saw... Many people's images are flashing before my eyes. And whose image do you see, Marcel? Is it a man named Vacher?
Huh.
Oh, so you do know that name.
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've never even heard of.
I was waiting for you to say that. Faster? Okay.
Whoa! The floor is going up! Is it because of this mechanism in the middle? That guy really prepared a lot of stuff for this place. go up, but Paimon doesn't see a way. Let's take a look around. Maybe we'll find a hidden mechanism that'll show us the way up. The water level is rising. Now we can swim to the top. But this is still a ways away from where we need to go.
The wind knows me.
Life goes on.
My apologies.
Cascade!
Wind strategy.
Whirling snow. Oh.
Time to go. One with nature.
Go. Take flight.
Into the wind. Wind strategy.
My apologies.
Cascade!
Now the path is clear. Let's go.
The wind knows me.
Sacred name, fortune preserver.
Be still.
Take flight.
Cascade!
with nature.
Wheel of life.
My apologies. Rise.
After all that, we finally made... Though, as expected, the mastermind isn't here. That's right. Then let's hurry up and find some evidence so we can get back to the Opera House. What's all this? Pink accessories, a hair tie, a necklace, even a makeup box. Oh, Paimon sees it too, but why are all these cute things? Huh? You mean the girls from... And then and all the boxes of things. These names. Whoa! There's so much synth here! And so many bottles of ingredients that probably just can... Mixing in... Whoa! There's even fruit-flavored synth? Yep! What's this over here? Looks like some experiment. The experiment was a failure. No individual managed to resurface from the water from the primordial sea. Sorry, traveler. Paimon will try her best. How can someone write something that terrible? You read the rest. Paimon's too scared to keep going. So that's why he did all of... Wait, did he really think he'd be able to find a way just by dissolving people over and over? That's just insane! Huh? Isn't that the name you heard by the fountain? Paimon thought he was an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. You mean Vacher is the one who did all of these... experiments? So that's it! Vacher was No, that's not it either! If that's the case, why would he want people to... In any case, Paimon... Oh, look! There's an important-looking basin over here, and it's full of water! That means this is where they make all the sin. If you dilute, Paimon will take notes on... Let's see what's written here. Callus. Navia's father. Oh, this seems to be an investigation This should prove the existence of the third person, right? We still have not determined the exact The old dog's a real menace to deal with. He can act whenever he wants to make our lives miserable. I concur. Let's send someone to kill him. Oh, seems like we've got a bunch of correspondence between the higher-ups. We've looked at almost everything here, and it seems like our theories were spot on. Yeah, we haven't found anything that reveals his true identity. No wonder even Neuvillette wasn't able to find anything. That way, even if we bring all this back to the opera, we won't be able to identify the true culprit. Sure thing. Paimon won't admit defeat to this. Fauché's Then you found her diary. Aw. It's just a normal diary chronicling their love story. So many! A whole page's worth! But they're all the final name she Marcel! Wait, but Marcel's pretty old. Has this case been going on for so long that he's Fauché and Venier's grown?